Right now at 6, state of emergency.
The fentanyl crisis on our streets has destroyed too many lives, taken the lives of too many Oregonians.
Why a 90-day plan from the city, county, and state has left some feeling skeptical. Plus, bike lane backlash as neighbors wonder who took out street signs.
Yeah, I don't like that someone took it into their own hands. It's criminal.
And Dame Time returns to the Rose City.
Well, I come back with love, and I'm excited to be back in the Motor Center.
So ahead of the Rip City face-off, how a sportswear giant paid tribute to the Blazers legend.
I think it's been an emergency that deserved the attention that it's getting right now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with the city, county, and state leaders acknowledging what many in the Rose City have seen firsthand, a growing and increasingly deadly fentanyl emergency. Thanks so much for joining us at 6. I'm David Molko. Today, the governor, the Multnomah County chair, and the Portland mayor jointly declared a 90-day state of emergency for Portland's Central City. Blair Best joins us live downtown tonight. So, Blair, what does this actually mean? What are the next steps?
Well, David, to many, this may seem like a no-brainer. It's not hard to see that there's a fentanyl emergency in downtown Portland. But what this declaration does is that it requires all three levels of government to work together to find solutions. And it's a move they admit has taken years for them to get to. Now, under this emergency order, there will be a command center in downtown Portland where the impacts of fentanyl will be recorded. And leaders will talk about what needs to be done to fill the gaps. There will also be a focus on street outreach and addiction prevention. More people will be trained on how to use the overdose reversing drug Narcan, and state police will continue to work alongside Portland police stopping drug deals.
We're up against a rising tide of fentanyl-related addiction and deaths that are unlike anything that we've seen before.
We're stepping up together to take the urgent, coordinated action needed to declare a tri-governmental fentanyl emergency, because we know we need to do more to respond.
Individuals who are struggling with fentanyl addiction are worth investing in, fighting for, and providing a clear path to recovery.
All right, so one question that has yet to be answered here is, how do you help someone who doesn't want to help themselves? Seeing as that is the case for many people struggling with addiction downtown. So coming up tonight on The Story at 6:30, we're going to show you a young homeless woman who's heavily addicted to fentanyl and her mom's fight to save her, and why it is seemingly impossible to do so even when resources are available, showing a deeper side to what's fueling this crisis. David?
That's an uphill battle for so many, Blair. We appreciate you digging deeper on these stories. Thanks so much. Let's get to your headlines now. We're going to start in Beaverton, where an air ambulance had to land in a park this afternoon to take a man to the hospital after he apparently accidentally caught on fire. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue says this was around 1 at Beaverton City Park. Bystanders were able to help put the flames out, and officials say it was immediately clear life flight was needed. We talked to a witness who describes what he saw.
I seen the guy take a lighter up to his face, and then a flame, and it go like this, and then he started running, and then poof, he was all on fire, and then he fell to the ground. I seen the guy take a lighter up to his face, and then...
Pretty terrifying. They're working to get an update on the victim's condition in this case. Well, a warning, some of the details in this next story are also disturbing. It involves a Tigard woman convicted of chaining a child up in her home. She's now been sentenced to more than 8 years in prison. 67-year-old Ana Miranda was sentenced for abusing children over several years. That abuse included chaining at least one child in the house for more than 12 hours at a time. That's on top of physical and verbal abuse and denying that child food. The lawyer for Miranda's youngest victim says he will never be able to mentally or physically recover from that abuse. Other parts of her sentence include 3 years probation and no contact with children. Portland police are now saying that a man who was found shot to death in a Lentz home last week was murdered by his wife. Authorities found 37-year-old Philip Pierce dead Friday morning near Southeast Suncrest Drive and 92nd. Detectives are now searching for his wife, Annalisa Gold. They say she may be driving a burnt orange Toyota 4Runner. License plate is 501 HSB with decals for uplifted aesthetics in white on the rear windows. Police say Gold is likely armed and dangerous. If you think you see her, call 911. In Beaverton, the school district is getting $20 million from the Environmental Protection Agency to buy 50 new electric school buses. It is part of the federal Clean School Bus program aimed to replace gas and diesel buses with zero emission and low emission models. Now, in addition to reducing pollution, the EPA says going green could cut a district's bus fleet operations and maintenance costs nearly in half.
On electric buses, you don't have to do an oil change, you don't have to service the transmission, you don't have to change fuel filters, and that's a lot of maintenance that we would normally do cost-wise.
Beaverton's $20 million grant is the largest so far in the Pacific Northwest. And take a look at this. A stretch of old Highway 30 near Biggs Junction is obviously closed after this cliff gave way, bearing the road with rocks and boulders. This is on the Biggs Rufus frontage road that parallels I-84 just to the east of Biggs Junction. ODOT says no vehicles were hit when those rocks came down this morning. Thank goodness for that. Some are the size of cars. It is not clear how long it will take to clear that road. Matt?
Thanks, Dave. You know, with all the rain we had over the weekend and that really warm weather, no surprise the earth has been moving. Unfortunately, we still have southerly flow over Oregon. You can see it taking over Mount Hood right here as the clouds lower just a bit. That's why it's been so warm. That is going to change at the end of the week. But for now, rain just beginning to fall at Newport. You can see it in the lens there. The winds are light. It's still very, very warm. And we've got a couple more warm days before we see things cool off. And one wet day. That would be tomorrow. Notice the rain increasing along the coast right now. In the valleys, it's going to be occasional rain coming and going, won't be too heavy. The coast, though, is going to be some fairly significant rainfall over the next 24 hours before things begin to wind down rainfall-wise on Thursday. There's also wind. We have a high wind warning on the southern Oregon coast, parts of central and eastern Oregon under a wind advisory. Some gusts there may reach 50 miles an hour. So it'll be a blustery day in parts of the state. In the Portland area and the Gorge, we'll see a strong east wind yet again for one more day. California is going to get hammered by another atmospheric river with tons of snow. More on that for you just a little bit later on. But for now, rain will increase tonight, late tonight in the Portland area after about midnight. We'll have rainy weather tomorrow, but drying out this weekend, even as things cool down. David?
Thank you, Matt. See you in a few. All right, it's been a dangerous few days on streets and highways across the Portland metro, with police now looking for multiple drivers involved in 4 separate hit and runs, crashes that killed 3 people and seriously injured a teenager. This map shows the locations. They are Vancouver, Gresham, Happy Valley, and the latest last night near Corbett. That's where a teen was hit while changing a tire on the shoulder of I-84. Again, that was in Corbett, though. I want to check in tonight with Joe Ranieri live in Gresham. That's where authorities say a person was hit by 2 vehicles early Monday morning. Joe?
Yeah, just awfully sad to hear all these different hit and runs over the last couple of days. Now, this was the scene of one earlier yesterday morning in Gresham along Burnside. Right around 3:30 yesterday morning is when Gresham police say a person was killed out here. Now, they are investigating it as another hit and run. It happened at 3:30 Monday morning, and this section of Eastman Parkway was shut down for several hours. Then late last night, Oregon State Police say a teenager was changing a tire along I-84 westbound near Corbett when they were hit by a truck. The driver of that truck took off. The 60-year-old boy survived. As for the crash out here yesterday morning, Detective Adam Wright with Gresham Police Department said multiple cars hit the victim.
It's hard to tie factors to any one particular event. We do remind people at night it's dark, try to drive carefully and slowly, and for our pedestrians to be visible, wear high visibility clothing, and make sure they're obeying those traffic control signals.
There was also a deadly hit and run in Happy Valley over the weekend when a man was struck and killed on I-205 South just before the Sunnyside Road exit rather. Then on Sunday night in Vancouver, a 67-year-old man was killed when he was struck by a truck. The victim was not in a crosswalk when he was hit. Then the driver who hit him did stop, but a second driver who was trying to get around the accident swerved and ran over the man. He took off, and the only description police have is of a dark-colored sedan. Now, we did learn earlier this evening that the teenager from the I-84 accident is in a serious condition at an area hospital. We'll have more details than that. Reporting in Gresham tonight, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Thank you, Joe. Developing this evening, PBOT will have to replace some brand new signs in a northeast Portland neighborhood after it appears somebody used a saw to cut them down. They're part of a greenway project meant to make a stretch of road safer for cyclists and pedestrians. Thomas Schultz is in the newsroom. Thomas, you talk to neighbors. What do they think is going on?
Well, David, they think this is just clear vandalism and say it's shameful. Someone would destroy signage placed to prevent cars from traveling north along Northeast 72nd. Now, all that's left of the signs are metal pipes sticking out of the ground, and it looks like someone sawed through those pipes to destroy those signs. Originally, it was placed there by the Portland Bureau of Transportation, and they were there to implement the next step of a greenway project to transition Northeast 72nd into a one-way road. PBOT plans to use the northbound lane as a walkway and bike path. Now, that's a decision that's been controversial. I spoke to some residents who are in favor of the planned project and say they feel unsafe when walking along the road right now. That's because cars travel too fast around corners. Now, others say the plan shouldn't be enacted because there's already enough space for pedestrians, cyclists, and those cars. They say the road is also necessary for people to travel efficiently around Northeast Portland. Still, no matter how people feel about the plans, all residents we spoke with say the vandalism should have never happened.
It's criminal to remove the signage. You don't just take it upon yourself to take action with something that you disagree like that.
And in a statement, PBOT says they've contacted Portland police about the vandalism too. They're also in the process of replacing that signage with a design that's less likely to be vandalized. David?
Yeah, I think we can all agree destroying property is not the answer. Thank you, Thomas. And straight ahead.